The US is paying over $1 trillion in interest on $38 trillion of national debt. That is more than the defense spending. You're thinking, why the hell does this matter and how is it going to make me rich through Bitcoin? Well, let me connect it all. In the United States and many other rich countries, we have an aging population, and this in return means we have slower growth. Our real GDP is in a decline, as we can see in this graph. How do we keep this growth up? Because the economy is continuing to grow. Well, we use debt. And what does this debt do? It gives us a line of credit to expand and grow as a country more. Now, we have to roll over this debt because it is unserviceable. So, what does this mean? Well, we continue to pay more interest on it. And how do we pay this interest off? Because it's not coming from tax dollars, right? It's unserviceable. Well, we print more money and inject liquidity into the markets to pay off the debt. Well, what's the most sensitive asset in the world to liquidity? Bitcoin and general crypto. Here's a chart of the NASDAQ and in yellow, global liquidity. Again, here is a chart of Bitcoin and in yellow, global liquidity. Recognize something? They both have over 90% correlation. This is because liquidity drives markets because asset prices move on the amount of money and credit available to flow into them. So when liquidity expands, prices rise, and when it contracts, they fall. Almost all debts are rolled over every 4 years on average, and that creates a 4 year cycle. Have you ever heard of the Bitcoin 4 year cycle? Everything you heard about that is fake. It all has to do with liquidity and when the debt is being rolled over. We can also see this through ISM ratings, which on average have a 4 year cycle. This is once again because of debts being rolled over and liquidity being injected. So now let's take a look into 2025 and why was this year not the year we thought it was supposed to be. We underwent numerous structural changes to how debt is rolled over and different liquidity injections between 2020 and 2024. This, in return, changed the cycle and debt maturity wall to a 5 year cycle, roughly. So that debt maturity wall, instead of being in 2025, is now in 2026. So that is when we get a banana zone, or when Bitcoin explodes due to huge amounts of liquidity being injected to in, in return roll over this debt. Now, let's look ahead. Well, we just started quantitative easing. We have liquidity injections coming into the system. And also, we have an $8 trillion debt maturity wall that needs to be refinanced. Well, that calls for a lot of liquidity to enter the system, and we can already see it beginning. Now, there's a 6 month lag behind ISM, which will fuel the altcoin season. When ISM goes above 50, you generally have an altcoin season because, well, people have extra cash. That means the actual economy is doing good and people will have cash to gamble. Simple as that. More liquidity entering the system for these smaller market caps. So here's the bottom line. We just had a pretty decent sized correction right before a massive liquidity event that is in the process of occurring and will continue to get even more into 2026. So if you're going to ask me, oh, should I buy? Not financial advice, but yes, you should.